Well, the Toronto Blue Jays gave you a little bit of a scare, don't get me wrong, but what an absolutely huge series win for this team.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. As always, I'm Braden Fischer. He's Carter First. You can find us on Twitter, Braden5 Fischer. Carter First, too, as well. Our main Twitter account, at Locked On Jays. As well, you can check us out on TikTok, on Instagram, both at Locked On Blue Jays. And if you're new here to YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You guys will get your podcasts, your shorts, your live streams, the videos, sort of whatever we throw out will all be there readily available on the YouTube page. Because of this huge series win and the Blue Jays back over 500, they've got over the hump. Let's bring in John Jay back on the podcast. He's got the broom out.
Here we go.
You absolutely love to see it. Huge series sweep against the San Diego Padres. I don't care what brand of baseball that team is playing. They are a good baseball team. It's always nice to sweep a series. But John, how's it going? How you feeling right now?
Good, man. I'm feeling good. Glad to be back on the pod with you guys, kicking it.
Yeah, that's great. And always, you guys can check out John on his Instagram page at John J Music. I believe he's got he does a bunch of stuff all around Toronto. He's at a bunch of events. We were happy enough to go, be able to go out and see him when we were down there, and it was an absolute blast. Make sure you guys do check out him on his Instagram as well. I guess, boys, just what a win. It was a little bit of a roller coaster. I think you're seeing the up and downs of Jeff Hoffman right now. He's definitely not at his peak where you want him to be. But really, that's probably the only negative you can really take away from the games this series, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, when you go to game two, there's really no negatives that you take. 14-0. The Jays scored 2 touchdowns, 2 extra points. You absolutely love to see that. And then in this game, I thought the Toronto Blue Jays were going to do that thing again where they have a sweep right in the grasp of their fingertips and then they give it away. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with Jeff Hoffman right now because the last couple of appearances have not been good. Over his last 7 games, he has almost a 16 ERA. And, Gavin Sheets is having a good year. But again, if you're going to get beat by anyone on this Padres team, you're not necessarily thinking it's going to be Gavin Sheets. But obviously, they battled in the extra innings. You get another run in the 10th inning, the 11th inning. Nathan Lucas just continues to be dominant, a huge addition to this baseball team. And you're just really getting production from the bottom of the order this entire season, whether it's Addison Barger, whether it's Ernie Clement, Jonathan Clase having a very good game. You can continue to go down the list. Miles Straw has been very good. Everyone in the bottom of the order is producing, and that's exactly what you need for a team to win baseball games. Obviously, you need your stars to be stars, which they haven't necessarily been up to this point. Vladdy is heating up, which is nice. Santander, obviously, day-to-day, and has not been up to par right now. Bichette coming in multiple times in the clutch. Just a very good series, honestly, all around from the Toronto Blue Jays team.
Yeah, and John, I guess when you look at this lineup, really the only couple guys that didn't have their best stuff yesterday, I guess it would be yesterday night, was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. going 0 for 5 and Ernie Clement as well going 0 for 5. But everybody else in this lineup is contributing, and it's not like Vlad hasn't been. Just a game where this team probably could have used him in some big spots, didn't necessarily come through. But overall, I think you got to be happy with where everything's at right now.
I mean, absolutely. Vladdy's Vladdy. I mean, he's going to be Vladdy. He's not off to a great start power-wise, but, I mean, he's been pretty good. He gets on base a lot. He walks a lot. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him walk so much. And that used to be a problem of his before. He used to struggle at chasing bad pitches, the outside pitch, the down and away pitch. Now he's laying off those pitches. He's getting on base. Sure, he's not hitting for power, but he's getting on base, and I think that's important, very important.
Well, when you look at the at-bats, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is still hitting the ball insanely hard, and he gets on base again today. Again, he gets hit by a pitch, but extending that on-base streak to 22 games, tied with Dansby Swanson for the league lead. So, obviously, he is doing his part, keeping the line moving, when you're hitting 2 in the lineup, you want your 3, 4, 5 guys hitting. Usually that would be Anthony Santander, but you're getting production from Daulton Varsho. George Springer has had a huge bounce back season. Alejandro Kirk, again, coming into this game, having a pinch hit single. He's looked really good as well. So you want Vladdy to play good baseball, but you can't just singularly rely on Vladdy. And this team hasn't had to do that because, you score 3 runs against a great pitcher on Dylan Cease, and then obviously the 14-run game. And then you still score 7 runs in this game. So overall in the series, 24 runs in 3 games. That is something that, again, if they can produce, not necessarily, you don't need these 8-run spots necessarily, but if you can get 4, 5, 6 runs with this starting pitching, when you have Kevin Gausman, Chris Bassitt pitching very well, and the bullpen, once again, just looking very good. Yariel Rodriguez, who I want to go into later on this podcast, just absolutely ridiculous. The only one that you're kind of worried about a little bit sometimes is actually Jeff Hoffman, believe it or not. Didn't necessarily think we'd be saying that, especially the way he started the season. But just a team win, a gritty win, and a nice series sweep, like I said, against one of the best teams in the NL.
Yeah, and I mean, Carter, you brought him up. Yariel Rodriguez has been outstanding. Really a guy that I think is surprising a lot of us. Mason Fluharty goes in. He goes, 1 strong. He gets a K. Chad Green. This is the only concern I have, I guess, as of right now, is you see how many guys they used in this game. So moving on to the series we'll get into against Tampa and going into the Eric Lauer start, that's one thing I'm going to have to keep my eye on is how depleted this bullpen is, especially in a game where it sort of is a bullpen game. And so that's something that's going to be a little bit fishy moving forward. But I mean, Carter, I got to talk about the Daulton Varsho triple, my man. That was unbelievable to watch. Him getting the boots going. You're seeing the power. You're seeing the speed. Daulton Varsho, I guess, John, I'll throw this one to you. Just a complete player. And this is the Daulton Varsho we've sort of been waiting to see over the past few years.
Right. I mean, I'll be honest. When the trade first happened for Varsho, I was not a fan. I knew nothing about Varsho. I read some stats and things, and I thought, wow, we're giving up Guerrero and a young catcher that shows huge potential for a guy that can hit 20 to 25 home runs and is great defensively. Came to Toronto, didn't perform offensively at all. Great glove. I thought, oh, man. But listen, he's starting to turn my opinion on him, especially with the start this year. Like, I'm thinking, wow, if this guy can do this consistently throughout the season, I mean, I no longer will think that was a bad trade, because I originally did think it was a one-sided trade, but not so much anymore.
Well, and this is a guy, again, has 7 home runs, leads the team in home runs, and didn't start the season until late April. So Daulton Varsho been on an insane hot streak. And again, there's a reason why he is hitting 3 in the lineup. Obviously, we could talk about his defense all day. Every single series, he's going to make one Superman play. We saw a little while back where he almost scaled the entire 12-foot wall in center field, isn't able to bring that home run ball back. That's just how athletic Daulton Varsho is in the outfield. And when they made that trade again, we weren't necessarily happy about it either. You gave up a ton to get a guy in Daulton Varsho. Again, coming off a career year at 27 home runs with the D-backs, you were hoping you can get some more of that power. But right now, he's on pace for 30, 35 home runs. And when you're not getting that production necessarily from Santander, it's definitely nice to see that power back coming with Daulton Varsho, because that's exactly why you got him. You didn't get this guy to get on base. You didn't get this guy to get singles. You got him to get extra base hits, come up in the clutch, hit home runs, and then his first triple of the season, which obviously ended up ending in the Toronto Blue Jays. Walking it off with Nathan Lucas, again, continuing to just come up in clutch scenarios, be a very underrated bat for the Toronto Blue Jays team. And since the Blue Jays haven't really faced a ton of lefties at all this season, Nathan Lucas has found himself becoming a regular piece of this team, getting regular playing time over this last little bit of stretch. And he is making the most of his shot right now.
And you're seeing that from a lot of these young guys. I mean, Addison Barger, another guy that has been popping off the page. What have you seen from him, John, lately that you've been liking? He's just been excellent.
I mean, besides that cannon at third, wow, he must throw the ball about 98 across the field. I would guess it's a rocket. Minus that one little toss the other day. I mean, he's got a cannon at third, and plus he's swinging for power. When he swings, he gives it all, his full on effort at the ball. There's no days off. And we knew that he was capable of this, just didn't get enough at bats at a big league level. Now we see him with more at bats, playing more games. I like what I see. I think he looks great.
Well, and this is why people were raving about a guy like Addison Barger so much. You see the exit velocity, you see some of the skill set that he does have, the power bat that this team so desperately needs. And my favorite thing so far about Addison Barger is that he hustles everywhere, right? Whether it's a roll over ground ball to second base, whether he thinks he's going to hit the ball into the gap, whether it might be a no doubt home run, you still see Addison Barger spreading out of the box. And you still, this is a guy that I think a lot of people can learn from, especially a guy like Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., we're sometimes a little bit lackadaisical coming out of the batter's box. You have that effort. You never know what's going to happen, especially with this Padres team that seemed to be making error after error after error in this series. If you have opportunities to take advantage, get that extra base, that is something that is going to be massive for this team. And that is what I've loved to see so far from Addison Barger, getting in these spots, hitting the ball hard, and just showing maximum effort on every single play.
Yeah, it's been really, really great to see. I think again, it's the youthful sort of energy. He's wanting to play, he's wanting to prove himself, and it's going very well for him. Another guy that I think we all had questions about going into this game was Bowden Francis, and you know what? I don't always tip my hat to John Schneider because I think sometimes he makes the wrong decision. Bowden Francis went 4 innings, and I thought, you know what? He's had an all right day. I think get him out there, get him out of there while his confidence is still a little bit high, when he's not plummeting and giving up 6 runs. Get him out of there right now. Go to Yariel Rodriguez out of the pen. And sure enough, he does that. And I think that was a really smart move by John Schneider, who I don't always give my praises to. John, how did you think about Bowden Francis today?
I think with Bowden the third time through the lineup, it's just not good. I mean, I think batters are at like 300 plus third time through the lineup. I think they were approaching the third time, or was it the second time? I'm not sure, but
yeah,
it gets worse as he faces batters later on in the game, which is not a good thing. So I agree. I think it was the right call. Even they went up a few runs that they could have sent them back out, but I think Schneider had made the call prior to those runs being scored, and I think it was the right decision. I think he looked like he wanted to go back out there, but you're right. I think give the boy some confidence. He has been pitching that well, to be honest. Let him leave on a high note. Won't get the W because it doesn't qualify, but it's a good outing.
Well, especially after a Kevin Gausman outing where you didn't really have to use any bullpen arms whatsoever. And that's exactly what I was going to say as well. You don't really want Bowden Francis, especially the way that he's been pitching right now, to go through that lineup 3 times. And the biggest problem with Bowden Francis right now is the command. There's a few times that you have to hold your breath with Bowden Francis because he is right over the middle. And with a guy that's not throwing, 97, 98, kind of sitting around 91, 92, if you have that fastball over the middle, players are sitting on it, and that's exactly what happened with Gavin Sheets. Jackson Merrill hit a curveball right over the middle. So when Bowden Francis runs into trouble, it's because he is right over the middle of the plate. And again, when you don't have that velocity, you don't necessarily have that stuff. Plus, you got to be careful with your command. If your command is off, that is where you're going to get hurt. And that is why Bowden Francis has given up 15 home runs on the season, which is the most in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and you know what, Carter? We're going to talk more about this game specifically, just some of the plays that have happened, how the extra innings played out. We'll get into all that. And then we got a couple questions for John, sort of boots on the ground in Toronto. He's going to let us know some of his feelings, thoughts on this team, because we did want to throw out some questions to him, if it's regarding Santander, a few other guys. There's a lot we want to get into. So we'll take a quick break, come back with all that. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. You guys know how much I love using FanDuel. It's my go-to place for betting, and the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. NHL playoffs as well. MLB's going on. There is a lot to bet on, and FanDuel is the best place to do it. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with some player props, performance trends, same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. $200 in bonus bets is an absolute steal. Go get that. Make sure you guys do sign up for that reward if you are new to FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. So, boys, as we continue on here, I guess Jeff Hoffman goes out, and a little piece of me sort of thought that was going to happen. I don't know why. I had a bad feeling going into that outing, only up to a game that, like Carter said, seemed to be there for the taking. And in sort of classic Toronto Blue Jays fashion, I thought, oh, man, they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way to give this one back. Jeff Hoffman goes out there and gives up 2, and I'm like, oh, no. here we go. But the remainder of the bullpen, Brendan Little comes in, Braden Fischer, who actually records his win of the season. So good on him. I guess, John, going into those extra innings, how were you feeling sort of just as a fan watching those games? Were you as nervous as I was?
I absolutely was. I thought, oh my God, Hoffman's in the game. I just had this premonition come over to me that we're going to blow the lead and it's going to go into extra innings. And somehow the Padres are going to pull it off. I thought, this is too good to be true. The Jays sweeping the Padres? Are you kidding me? In what universe? We must be in a multi-universe. And of course it happened, but we found a way to pull off the win. I mean, Hoffman, as of late, there might come a time where there might need to be some flip-flopping between him and Garcia. I don't know how soon that is yet. I believe the closer role for Hoffman is still fairly new. I think Buck said today on the broadcast that last year was his first year officially closing the entire season, I believe. I could be wrong. So there might come a time, if he continues with this type of pitching, that him and Garcia start to flip-flop.
Yeah, and Jimmy Garcia has been so good this year. Again, every pitcher, whether it's closing pitcher, setup man, they're going to have their blow-up starts. Just Jeff Hoffman, we've seen that become a little bit more common recently, which, again, your closing pitcher. Our buddy in our group chat said he was giving us Jordan Romano vibes from last year. Not exactly what you want to hear, especially with the start with that Jordan Romano did have this season as well. But one issue that I had with this game is that once you got to Braden Little, you were in this extra innings after Jeff Hoffman was taken out of the game. You had Braden Fischer, and that was pretty much it. You used every single piece of your bullpen here. So if you don't win that game in the 11th inning, Braden Fischer, again, did record his first win, I believe, of his career. But if you don't get out of that inning and you have to get Braden Fischer, you might have had to throw Erik in this game because you were running out of arms very quickly. 7 bullpen arms used in this game. Obviously, it did work out for the Toronto Blue Jays, but yeah, just definitely sitting on my hands, kind of, very biting my nails, very scared for the outcome, but obviously they did pull it out, and that's why we watch baseball, for games like this.
Yeah, and you know what? When I'm watching this game and the Padres only score 1 run in each extra inning, I think, oh, they're giving the Blue Jays the chance. Is somebody going to come up and take advantage of that? And that's when you see Daulton, Varsho, and Kirk and Nathan Lucas really go out and show what kind of clutch gene they have, right? I always talk about it. It's probably one of the biggest stats you can have is, hitting with runners in scoring position or hitting late in games. And I haven't done a full breakdown on where Varsho, Kirk, and some of these guys are at, but maybe that's something I got to look into because the clutch gene has been something that's been missing out of this team lately. And I think it's great seeing Nathan Lucas do it a few times, seeing Ernie Clement do it a few times, seeing Daulton Varsho do it a couple times. I don't know, John, do you sort of feel like this team's a little bit more clutch than last year, like in these close games and these close outings that could go either way?
I mean, as of late, yes, but to start the season up until maybe a week or two ago, I would say no. There's been no clutch in this team up until these last 2 to 3 series. I mean, it is what it is. They look great right now. You're seeing clutch performances, especially, Varsho's been great. I see it now. I didn't see it at the beginning of the season, to be honest.
Yeah, that was the biggest narrative on our podcast for probably about a month. It felt like that they're putting themselves in situations. They were getting runners in scoring position, runners on second, especially early on in the innings. They were getting runners on with 0 outs, and they were just finding ways to pop out in the infield, have a strikeout, double play ball, you name it.
Yeah.
And you hit the nail on the head. The last couple of weeks has been a massive shift, and that's why you're starting to see the Toronto Blue Jays win a few games. And one of the biggest differences, obviously, from last year to this year is that you can actually get, if your pitcher goes 5 innings, you can feel pretty confident your bullpen is going to put up zeros. Last year, if you didn't get, 7, 8 innings from your starter, you thought the bullpen was going to blow the game. And obviously the offense was not necessarily up to par last year either. So that is the biggest shift from last year to this year, is that this team just entirely feels a whole lot different. It feels like they're playing a whole lot more competitive baseball. When you look at the series that they have swept, they swept the Seattle Mariners, who are a very good baseball team. They swept the San Diego Padres. So again, I don't care what brand of baseball they're playing. They are a good baseball team. Then you have the Nationals in there, but you got to take advantage, obviously, of teams that aren't necessarily that good as well. And they still got the White Sox they're going to have to play. They still got the Colorado Rockies. There are some games coming up that they can obviously take advantage. The Rockies and stuff doesn't come until later on in the schedule. But the Blue Jays made it through their month and a half of playing playoff teams. It seemed like every single game in and game out. So now you start to see a little bit of fluctuation in the schedule. They got the Tampa Bay Rays, which we'll obviously preview in this last segment here. But hopefully they can continue on with this momentum and, continue to win series and play consistent baseball.
Yeah, you know what? That's the one thing that I kept saying was timely hitting, nonstop. And it seems like maybe they're starting to figure something out. But I just said this to Carter on the last episode. I said you can't get too high and you can't get too low through the entirety of a baseball season because things change very quickly. I guess, John, in talking about that, from where your expectations were at the beginning of the season to now with the Toronto Blue Jays actually being over 500 for what seems like forever ago was the last time they were. Have your expectations changed at all?
I mean, yes and no. Is this a World Series caliber team? I honestly don't think so. Are they a good team? Yes, they're a good team. Can they be a very good team? Yes, they can be a very good team, but they have to perform like this. They have to win the series that they're supposed to win. And the series they're not supposed to win, walk away with one win of the series, or if it's a 4-game series, walk away with a split. If we can continue to do that, I think we have a very good chance at being a very good team.
Yeah, the main thing on this team is that they just have to stay afloat. You do have reinforcements coming up. Spencer Turnbull obviously will come back to this team. Erik Swanson, Ryan Burr, Max Scherzer, which kind of leads me into my next question, is about Max Scherzer, because we have seen him pitching a few side sessions, but again, he's only thrown 30, 35 pitches. What's your expectation with Max Scherzer for the rest of the season? And Braden brought this up in the last episode. If this needs to be the case where Max Scherzer, again, always seem to have trouble once he gets to 45, 50 pitches, would you be okay with putting Max Scherzer kind of as like an opener, only throwing him for 2-3 innings, getting something rather than nothing? So what's just your overall expectation for Max Scherzer for the rest of the season?
Well, I mean, with Max, I mean, the show value is there. Every time he takes the mound, I'm going to tune in. There's a whole lot of people that are going to tune in, whether it's for 2 innings, 5 innings, or 9 innings. So I think they got to get him out there. Now, whether or not his body agrees with him that he can pitch, throw 70 pitches, 60 pitches, I don't know. He's got to be healthy, and I don't really think he's fully healthy yet. He said he was getting better. He's on his way there. He was supposed to throw a mound session, I think, last week, but I think that got canceled. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'd like to see him. I don't want to see him out of the bullpen, obviously. I mean, unless we're in the playoffs and something like that happens, but I want to see him start some more games. I don't want him to be the quote unquote bench OG that's coaching the young players. That's cool. We need that. And that seems like what he's getting paid for right now. But I'd like to see him pitch more and frequently. And whether it's 2, 3, 4 innings and that's all, then I'm cool with that, because that is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And you brought up just the show factor of it. And that's a big thing. You want butts and seats. This team wants guys that are going to bring butts and seats. He's a guy that's going to do that. And I'm not really sure what I expect from him. I hope he can get back and at least get in a few games, at least until, hopefully until Alek Manoah comes back, because I've saw some videos of Alek Manoah pitching and he just looks like a dog. Like he looks like he's ready to go. And it's hard for me to say, will he be back to, all-time form? I don't know, but I think I have a very good feeling about Alek Manoah when he does come back, but it's to get to that point. Are you going to have to roll Eric Lauer? Are you going to have to open Max Scherzer? Or is he going to come back for a couple starts? What's the plan looking like? Is it going to be Turnbull? Is it going to be Urania? I'm a little bit lost in all of this. And
I agree.
I don't know. It's a very tough situation, because I look at going into the first game against the Tampa Bay Rays, which we will tee up a little bit, but where do you go? You go with an Eric Lauer start, and then do you go to Urania, hopefully, I guess? And I don't know. I don't know what the timeline for the bullpen here is going to be for that first game.
Well, I mean, here's what I'd like to see. When Gimenez comes back, we're going to be log jammed. I mean, Clement can't. Where's Clement going to play? Maybe third and Barger DHs. But I mean, Barger looks great at third. We have Luke's. We have a couple other players in the minors that could be MLB ready or were once MLB ready. I'd like to see a trade for a starting pitcher. I really would. If that means giving up someone like a Clement, even a Nathan Lukes, if we have to. but I'd like to see a trade for a starting pitcher or at least a call up for a starting pitcher soon, because this unsure of day 5 starter and we're so early in the season. I mean, it's kind of frustrating in a way to see that happen. So I'd like to see a trade, mix it up a bit. Why not?
Yeah, and you have some people that are kind of these
Yeah,
fringe MLB players right now. Like Alan Roden is absolutely raking in
right.
AAA. Joey Loperfido starting to play a little bit of a better brand of baseball. When you have Andrus Gimenez back, you're with his defense, you're kind of forced to play him at second base. So you're kind of running out of spots to have, again, all these guys that are producing up to this point in the season. So a trade, especially for starting pitching with the way Bowden Francis has been pitching, a little bit uncertain every single time this guy takes the mound. And like we said, Erik Lauer, who has been good recently, but again, how long is that kind of going to go on for? He kind of gives me Easton Lucas vibes, which started out really hot, but then you start to figure him out a little bit, and then things might kind of go a little bit haywire for this baseball team. But there are a couple more things that I do want to go into, and this wouldn't be a Locked On Blue Jays podcast. I don't think we've talked to you since the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. extension. So I wanted to ask you about that. How do you feel about that extension? And just how do you feel Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has played so far this season? And do you think there is increased pressure on Vladdy after that massive extension, which is the third highest in MLB history?
I think actually there's pressure relief. I think that if this had continued throughout the entire season, it'd be overwhelming for Vladdy with the questions from the reporters, the social medias. We know he's on social media because he's liked some weird kind of posts about him and other uniforms that we won't mention. But I think for him, it's a relief. And I honestly, we had to sign him. We didn't have a, we, I don't think we had a choice. Rogers didn't have a choice in this matter. If they didn't sign Vladdy, who are you replacing Vladdy with? Are you going to get another Vladdy? Why? We have Vladdy already. Signed Vladdy. Was he overpaid? Maybe, maybe not. He's still young. I thought it was a great signing. It had to be done. It got done. It's out of the way. Let's move on with the season and let's have a great season. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that just not only relieves stress from Vlad and the organization, but also the players around him
Yeah.
of knowing what the future is going to be. I guess in the same vein, what do you feel like Bo Bichette? Do you think they get that one
Yeah.
done?
That's a weird one because it's been thrown under the rug. No one talks about that anymore. I mean, you don't hear anything about that. We did a little bit at the beginning of this year, and at the end of last year, there was talks of trades. There was talks of trades this year. Now I've heard zero conversation about extending Bo. I mean, what is he going to want? 300 million, 250? He's not going to get 400 million. I don't think. I mean, maybe just free agency. I just have heard nothing about it. I don't know how they feel about him. And the thing is that if he does walk, we have a great prospect in the minors waiting to come up who's raking, absolutely raking right now. So if he does walk, then he does. But I'd like to see him still in a Jays uniform for many years to come. I think he's a great ball player.
Yeah, that is a 1-2 punch you can definitely get behind with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette. We have seen Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro say that they do want to extend Bo Bichette, but the narrative has kind of always been that they have been engaged with Vladdy for multiple years now in a row. There was a lot of interest there, and Bo Bichette kind of getting pushed a little bit to the wayside. I mean, kind of fair when you look, it's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., one of the best players in all of baseball, but there is obviously still a lot up in the air with Bo Bichette. And when we look at the Bo Bichette contract extension, why would Bo Bichette sign an extension when he's coming off the worst season of his career? People were completely on the opposite side of the fence with Bo Bichette, saying that he's washed, saying he's not very good at baseball, this and that. But it was an injury-plagued season, kind of a one-off. That was the easiest bounce-back candidate, literally of all time, with Bo Bichette obviously playing a very good brand of baseball once again. So you do have Arjun Amala, like you said, he has been absolutely raking it. That is probably about a 2027 thing. So maybe you move Andrus Gimenez to that shortstop spot. Again, getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, but obviously when it's a big player like Bo Bichette, these are the questions that do need to be asked. But Braden, do you want to ask any more questions here? Or do you want to start previewing a Tampa Bay Rays series?
Yeah, I think we get into the Tampa Bay Rays series. I think that's the obviously where our mind has to go now. How does this team respond after just sweeping a series? What does the bullpen look like for the beginning of this series? Who starts this game? We're gonna have to get into all that. So I think let's take a quick break. We'll come back and get you guys all that information. So the Toronto Blue Jays looking to go and take on Tampa Bay at the minor league park. So that should, you'd think, help Vladdy a little bit, as he's been known to smack the baseball around in minor league parks. So game one, it's going to be Erik Lauer versus Drew Rasmussen on the Friday game. On the Saturday game, they got Jose Berrios and Shane Baz. And then on the Sunday game, it is Chris Bassitt versus Ryan Pepiot. And I think the biggest worry for me this series is going to be the bullpen now. How overtaxed is this bullpen going into this series against the Tampa Bay Rays? Don't get me wrong. I mean, you have Chris Bassitt and Jose Berrios, guys who should be able to go out there and give you innings. But that first game, I think, is really going to be a sore spot for this bullpen after just using almost every guy in your pen in this last game.
Yeah. I mean, it was, like I said, it wasn't necessary if Hoffman had closed out the game the way he was supposed to. That's what was also frustrating about today's game. We got the W, but we taxed our bullpen going into another series where the Rays always play us difficult, no matter whether they're in fifth place, first place. Somehow Cash knows the in and outs of our organization. Being a former J himself, he knows how to work us always.
Yeah, it's always a frustrating series, like you said, when you play the Tampa Bay Rays, especially when you're in the Trop. Luckily, this year, you don't have to go to the Trop. You get that AAA ballpark, like Braden said. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., last time he played in a AAA ballpark, had a pretty good season. So hopefully he can get some of those vibes back with this team. But just kind of looking at the bullpen and just the pitch counts, I don't think Yariel Rodriguez will be available 24 pitches. Should have Mason Fleury only threw 12. Chad Green, I think you're going to have to rely on. He only threw 12 as well. Jimmy Garcia at 9. So that's another option there. Brendan Little definitely down with 34. Jeff Hoffman, 23, probably not going to be available. You do need Braden Fischer. That's an option as well. Jose Urania might be available if you need him. So you do have a few options, but they've already said Erik Lauer will get an extended stay with this team. He'll have a little bit more longer of a leash just because of the bullpen usage. But pretty tough pitching matchups for the most part as well. I think Shane Baz, again, has struggled a little bit this season. So that might be a game you got to take advantage of. Drew Rasmussen is a very good pitcher. Usually takes advantage of this Toronto Blue Jays lineup, kind of, knowing the ins and outs of this lineup, like John Jay said. But, John, I'll throw it back over to you. What's your expectation for the series? And just give us your prediction on how this series is going to unfold.
Like I said earlier in the pod, we got to win the series that we're supposed to win. And I believe that we are a better team than the Rays, and we are supposed to win this series. We're not at home. Okay, fine. We're in a minor league field in Florida or wherever it is, Tampa Bay. But we need to win this series, whether it's 2 games or 3 games. Winning 1 game and losing 2, just not cutting it. We got to find a way to keep this momentum going. And I believe that we can. We're on a little bit of a roll right now. And I think that the Jays take 2 out of 3.
I think that's huge right now. And I think getting that last win against the Padres, that could have been a momentum killer if they would have lost that game. That could have really put them in the dirt. But instead, they figured out a way to take that game. And now hopefully they go and build on that momentum. In saying that, I would usually say that would lead into a game 1 win for the Blue Jays. But I'm actually having them win the second 2. I'm going 2 out of 3. I think they're going to take the game against Baz, and they're going to take the game against Ryan Pepiot as well. I think the a little bit unknown of who's going to pitch for that first game after Erik Lauer has me a little bit scared, and the Drew Rasmussen on the mound, that's going to be a tough one for sure.
I think Erik Lauer is going to pitch at minimum 4 innings. Again, he has been good so far this season, but it is the Tampa Bay Rays. They might have an advanced scouting report on them, knowing them. So I actually agree with you. I think that first game is going to be the game they struggle with the most. You should win that second game based off the pitching matchups. Ryan Pepiot had a very good start against the Blue Jays last time he was out. So again, that might be a little bit of a tougher game, but you got your best pitcher so far after the season, Chris Bassitt, the Hound on the mound, absolutely has been dominant. So you got to be excited for that one as well. But yeah, this is all about continuing the momentum and playing a little bit more of a consistent brand of baseball, because there has been a ton of peaks and valleys. The Blue Jays have been on 2 4-game winning streaks, 2 4-game losing streaks. So a little bit all over the place this season, but hey, that's baseball. Every team goes through it. Look at the San Diego Padres right now. Got swept back-to-back series, Seattle Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays. So it's not too bad in Blue Jays land right now. We're looking at, again, pretty early look at the standings. They are in second place in the AL East, still out of a wild card spot. But again, hopefully this can be the start of something and they can go on a little bit of a run. Let's get a little bit of a win streak going here and really get Toronto Blue Jays fans involved with this team.
Yeah, and you know what? We'll have to wait and see what happens. My motto, I guess, for this season is don't get too high, don't get too low, because it could come crashing down, or they could start climbing the mountain. So we'll have to wait and see. John, always appreciate you popping on the pod. I know you'll be on the week. I'm away, snapping around with Carter as well. I think we have Dallin Wilton joining us, Skylar Peters, and another special guest who I won't name yet because details are still in the works. But it's going to be a fun week for Carter anyway, getting a little bit of a break from me. I think that's not this week, not next week. I think the week after, if I'm not wrong.
As your vacation, I thought you might know, when you're going. But
I have no idea. I you know what? I was a little sick today. I think this was a complete. I couldn't even tell you what time it was most of the time today. I just knew Jay's game was on. Okay, back to bed. Podcast time. That was it. So interesting day for me. John, always appreciate you joining us. Where can the people check all your stuff out?
Once again, you can check me out on Instagram, social media at John J Music. All my events are up there, some videos, some interesting content. And once again, guys, it's always a pleasure being on here. I have such a great time talking ball with you guys, and I really appreciate it. And I can't wait for the weeks to come. And enjoy your vacation, Braden.
Thanks so much. Carter, anything from you before we kick out of here for the day?
No, I just wanted to thank the people for the support and thank John Jay, obviously, for coming on the podcast once again. Always nice snapping around, getting some new perspectives on this podcast, especially we don't have the boots on the ground in Toronto. So again, you're a little bit more up close and personal with the Toronto Blue Jays, which is always a good thing to say. So just one more time, thank you guys for watching. And just be sure to like, subscribe, comment, give us your opinions on this series. What do you think? The Toronto Blue Jays kind of took advantage of a scuffling Padres team, or maybe this is the start of a big win streak. Thank you guys for watching, and we will talk to you guys again on Monday.